6, we're back again. Kristi and Katie, your crime time friends. Stories, justice, laughs collide. True Crime Squad, come join the ride. Grab the clues, let's take a stand. For victims' voices, hand in hand. True Crime Squad, it's time to shine. Season 6, your turn, your time. True Crime Squad, where justice meets hilarity.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister and partner in crime, Kristi Brower.
Hello. Hey everyone, I'm Kristi Brower. If you don't know, on Monday, Katie introduced me as Katie Weaver. It's pretty great. Pretty great. And it's out there all over the interwebs for everyone to see.
Now I'm a little nervous about just falling into the habit or something. So I slowed way down, being very careful. Yes. How's it going?
That's so funny. It is really good. Really
Wonderful.
good. I had a very easy day, which I really like.
Nice.
I just listened to an audiobook for a lot of the day, which, okay, I'll take that.
We'll take it.
Is anyone else worried about the whole Audible situation? So, you know that Kindle is taking away the right to download and own an ebook.
Yeah.
They're changing their terms and conditions. So you have the right to read the book, but you don't actually have the right to own it. And there's fear that Audible is next.
Yeah.
So I spent a bunch of time over the weekend and downloaded 188 audiobooks out of my account and saved them into my Dropbox so I don't lose my books.
Yeah.
So
I know
that people are worried that it's happening to Kindle now, and they think it may happen to Audible as well.
Right.
What a bunch of crap.
It super sucks.
If you pay for it, you pay for it, right?
Yeah. I know. And I usually buy the Kindle and the Audible of the same book so that I can read when I feel like reading, but if I'm like doing glass or doing the dishes or whatever, I can listen.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have both apps on your phone or on your Kindle or whatever, they just they work together, and pick up where you left off,
sync,
which is amazing. But yeah, this is super frustrating. It's just, gosh, I'm tired of the way the world's changing right now. None of it seems to be in our favor these days. Just none of it.
Well, right? If you pay for something, my next step is, okay, now I'm going to work on downloading our movies we paid for on Prime.
Yeah.
Because same problem. Maybe. They haven't said that yet, but is that coming as well?
Yeah.
Because if you own it, don't you own it? So, yeah. Anyway, that's been my concern. Yeah. Christine says I canceled my Kindle app, right? Some people are just going to other ebook apps. The problem is that Amazon has the biggest library by a bajillion books.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are other options, but I don't know if you know this. I produce audiobooks. It's one of the many side gigs I have. And when you put up a book in Audible, you have two choices. One is to give them full rights, which means that you can't sell your audiobook anywhere else.
Yeah.
Or to, have a reduced percentage of your sales, and then you can put it up somewhere else. And so some people put it up somewhere else. Some people don't.
Right.
And
they just
so
Audible exclusive.
A lot of audiobooks, because I'll tell you another little secret. The authors of audiobooks don't make shit. They don't make any money. It's pennies. It's literal pennies.
Yeah.
On the sale of books, of audiobooks. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's really just a labor of love to put that up, to put those books up. Unless you're like Michelle Obama or James Patterson, you're not making any money on your audiobooks anyway.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. It's a crappy situation.
I know. It super sucks. Yeah. Well, we went, Scott had inspections today, and so we were out and about. Beautiful day, my gosh.
Yeah.
High 30s, nearly 40, sun shining. Actually drove around with the windows down for a few minutes. We drove out to one of our favorite places in the world, the warm slough, and sat next to the river for a little while. And
Oh, nice.
that's just where I replenish my magic, right
Mm-hmm.
there. Just a beautiful
Yeah,
place. So,
it
yeah, it was
is.
good. A really beautiful day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jennifer, I'm glad you're here. Our poor friends overseas. Sometimes it's harder for them to make lives. So I know some of you guys make
Yes.
crazy sacrifices, like being here at 1 a.m.
Oh
I
my
love that you're
goodness.
here. Yeah,
Yes, I do too.
for sure. Uh, Natasha, you are singing my language, girl. She said, "Can we talk about Donna Adelson?" Oh, can we?
Oh my gosh.
Let's
Can
start
we
there.
can we please?
All right. So Donna F. Adelson was in court today. They were arguing a couple of things. The piece of evidence that they want thrown out. It's a phone call that maybe cut off or maybe didn't cut off, and it's a bunch of nonsense. It'll never be thrown out. And arguing for bail again because she hasn't been really a candidate for bond because or for bail because she was in the process of fleeing the country when
Yeah.
she was arrested. And I don't know if you guys remember the video of her being arrested, but holy shit, was she an asshole. And the entitled nonsense with her is just really something else. So it was really something. She testified for an hour about all of her body pain and health conditions and the very little amount of health care she's getting, which is true. Jails don't offer much in health care. Um,
It would suck to be an older lady in jail. It would.
hmm it would be
It would suck
terrible.
to be this
Yeah.
middle-aged lady in jail.
Oh, yeah. Would be awful. They gave her an extra mattress for a while. She's having a sciatic issue. So if you've had one of those, you know how painful that is. And the only pain reliever they'll offer in jail is Tylenol. And of
Ugh.
course, we know that someone put their hand up her back in the shower and frightened her. And another woman came into her cell and wrenched her shoulder behind her and extorted her into buying her commissary things. And she told these stories in court, shaking and crying. And I'm not going to air that part, mostly because I'm torn. Because here on this show, we talk a lot about prisoners' rights and making sure that people's constitutional rights are protected. On the other hand, F you, Donna Adelson. and the
I
whole
mean,
time
there's a
she
way for
was.
none of this to ever happen to you, and
hmm
that would be to not participate in the murder of someone.
yeah. And all the while that she was crying about all of her woes, I kept thinking, wonder if Dan was in pain when he was shot, murdered.
Right.
Wonder if that hurt at all, Donna. But I'm not going
Totally.
to share that part, but you guys, it's all over the internet. You can easily go find it. What I am going to share is a clip of them, the prosecutor's office discussing with her her attempt to flee and why, because that's important in this decision. And then I just wanted you
Yeah.
guys to give me your opinion, whether you watched it or not, if you think the judge is going to go for this or if the judge is going to go, yeah, sorry. She's actually in protective custody now. And so having to buy commissary for the scary lady probably won't happen anymore. But
I mean,
when
that's pretty
she
much
was,
what they can do for her.
hmm they didn't even offer her an MRI on the shoulder. They did an X-ray to make sure it
No.
wasn't broken, and that's all they got for you.
Yeah, because that's all they're going to pay for when you're in jail. That's just how it
hmm
is.
Yep, yep. Yeah, she's claiming that she and Harvey would move to Tallahassee and stay there until the trial. Yeah, yeah. Right, Amy. It's pretty wild. So
After
anyway, we're
that
gonna.
scene in the airport, I don't know about that.
I know. I wish I would have pulled that up for tonight too, because we should all remember what a complete dick she was at the airport. But whatever.
Right.
Most of you probably do. So I'm gonna pull us off the screen, and I'm gonna put Donna F. Adelson up.
Oh.
My husband and I were literally shocked and traumatized at what had happened to Charlie. And he said, we need to just get some peace. We need to catch our breath. We're going to go away somewhere. And I thought it was a good idea because I couldn't think straight. I really couldn't think straight. I was so upset, and so was he. And it was It was his idea. He said, sweetheart, let's go, just get away. We're going to just get away somewhere so we can have some time to think.
Okay, so your testimony is that you weren't trying to go to Vietnam because you wouldn't be able to be extradited from there.
So my husband actually had said, you know, we've been to Vietnam before with friends. We were on vacation, and it really was like a place of peace. And so he said, if we go to a non-extradition country, then if the law enforcement decided that they wanted to arrest you or me, whatever, both, he said, we won't be sitting in a foreign prison waiting months to go back. We could buy a ticket and we could go home. And my understanding was that I could go home and I could turn myself in if that's what they wanted.
Okay, but you were hoping to make it out of America in time before you were arrested, right?
I wanted to get away. He wanted to get away. That's what we wanted to do. And it wasn't, we spoke to our attorneys. I asked them. They said there's no pending. We purposely called them to make sure it was legal to do it. And they said there's no, what were their words? There's no pending charges and there's no warrants. So you want to go, go. And so you ask your attorneys and they tell you that, I'm going.
But Dan did tell you, as you say in the jail call, that knowing what they're thinking up there, I don't know if you'll make it out in time. I really don't. But that he said you might, or you might get to the airport and they'll stop you. It could happen.
That's what he said.
Right. So you went to the airport knowing that they could stop you at the airport. You could end up being arrested.
Yeah, that's what Dan said.
Right. And when you were looking at places to go a couple of days after Charlie Adelson's trial, you were specifically looking, though, for countries that did not have extradition with the U.S.
For the reason I just told you.
Right. And the reason that you're saying that you were looking for countries with no extradition was so that you could get back faster in order to be arrested in the U.S.
No, that's not what I said. It's because, I don't know, maybe we watch too much TV or too many movies, but I've seen movies where people are stuck in like third world prisons and waiting and waiting and waiting. And my feeling was, this is not what we want to happen. If the state says they want us to come back, we'll buy a ticket, we'll come back on our own terms. We don't have to be else somewhere. We'll come back home and turn ourselves in.
Couldn't you have done that no matter what country you went to?
No.
No?
No.
You couldn't have found out that you had a warrant for your arrest and come back if there was an extradition
policy? Well, not if they would. I'm not in law enforcement, but it appears that they would notify law enforcement in that country, and then they could hold you in a jail for God knows how long. And I didn't want that to happen. So he said, well, that's why we'll do it this way, honey. That way, if they do notify us, so we get a phone call from our attorney or from law enforcement, then we'll buy a ticket, we'll go home.
Okay.
And so it would have been on our terms. That was the point. That was the reason that he thought that was a good idea.
And your
Before you continue, Ms. Dugan, we are over time. If you please can get to your most pertinent questions.
Yes, sir. I guess your testimony ultimately, though, is that you were not trying to go to a country with no extradition because you were trying to avoid being held accountable for this charge. That's your testimony?
I didn't do this.
Okay.
Being held accountable for this is not what happened.
Being arrested for this case.
Being arrested?
Right. That was not what you were trying to avoid by trying to go to a non-extradition country.
We were trying to get our heads on straight and just breathe.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Any redirect examination for Mrs. Adelson?
The poorest of Donnas.
Oh, It's so difficult.
They just needed to get their heads on
right
straight.
thing.
After what happened to Charlie. What happened to Charlie, Donna, was that he was convicted of murder, Donna.
Right.
Wonder if she had to
what
go
the hell?
lead to a non-extradition country to clear her head and process what happened to Dan. No.
No, not at all. Well, and like, who said it? Amy said, is she actually claiming she's even more law-abiding for choosing Vietnam?
Right.
No, bitch. No, you are not.
What?
You were running to a non-extradition country knowing that the potential was there that you could be arrested for this. Give me a break.
That is the most bullshit argument I have ever heard.
Yeah, she knows how to put on the poor old lady voice, doesn't she?
Yeah. Sure had a different voice when she was getting arrested.
She sure did.
Mm-hmm. She wasn't this meek, frail, little scared old lady at all.
No, she
even
was
a little
not.
bit. No. What a show. And yes, our lawyers told us we could get arrested, but we decided to take our chances. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we decided to do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, lady.
Yeah.
You think you're pulling this over on anybody? That judge was probably like, oh, sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you could just come back.
Yeah.
On your terms. She said on our terms.
Over and over she said
okay.
that, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like what a bunch of BS, man.
We could do it our way. Yes, Donna, I'm just sure you had every intention of coming back. Sure, bud. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what a bunch of nonsense. So it'll be interesting to see if the judge actually bites on this or if he says, hell no, you're not going anywhere.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to bite on it at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why would you give her a second chance to run to a non-extradition country?
Right.
She obviously already is well aware of that.
Yeah. Right. If you're held in a foreign prison, it's because you're fighting extradition. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If they just got arrested and said, okay, fine, we'll give in to being extradited, then they'd just immediately be extradited.
Pretty close. Yeah. It's when you're fighting it, you know, like old Nick Alaverdian did, that it takes some time. Yeah. Right, Natasha? She'd be horrible to put on the stand during trial. Well, yeah, because can you imagine how easy she will be into goading into getting pissed? And
she will.
Mm-hmm. She thinks she's smart. She's not.
No.
Right?
No,
can you imagine what a prison in Vietnam would be like? Right, Jennifer? Probably not fun.
Not fun.
But they wouldn't put her in a prison, or at least that's what she's banking on. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I agree, Marta. I don't think he's going to fall for it either. I think he's going to tell her you're in protective custody now. That's what we got. That's where you're going to stay. She had also discussed that all of their meals are very carb heavy with very little protein, and that she has gained 1/3 of her body weight since she's been in there.
Oh, darn. Well, next time, just try not participating in the murder of anyone and see if that causes you any weight gain or not. I mean...
Very interesting. So, sorry it sucks, Donna. I don't know what to tell you. Really don't. And I suspect the judge won't either, but protective custody is the best you're going to get.
I think that it is.
Yep. So, with that, Kristi, I'm going to kick it over to you to update us on the Kootenai County situation. There's been a couple of things happen since we reported.
Yes, so this is the situation in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, Kootenai County. The woman who was drug out of a town hall that was being held in the local high school there in Coeur d'Alene. If you recall, we just did this yesterday. Teresa Borenpole. After all of this went down, they drug her out. They immediately charged her with battery because she bit one of those thugs that pulled her out. I'm not going to say thug. I'm going to say jackboot. One of those jackboots that pulled her out.
I had a jack in term in mind as well.
Yeah, that too.
But yeah.
Because she bit one of them. The prosecutor has now dropped the charge against her because obviously she was defending herself, which she had every right to do. So a few things have happened. The charge against her has been dropped. The so-called private security firm, Lear Asset Management, that apparently these men worked for, and there's rumor now that the sheriff actually owns Lear Asset Management. You know, the sheriff who was, playing his little game like he had any power in that room, which he did not. Their city license has been revoked, so they are, because they behaved illegally. They were not marked as security. They would not identify themselves. They did a bunch of shit they had no right to do in that situation. And so that they've lost their license. So they're done in Coeur d'Alene. Thank heavens. This has also hit the mainstream media, like national media, which I'm very glad to see. People all over the place are horrified, wondering why no one helped that woman. And one thing that you have to remember is that northern Idaho is full of Nazis. They are. Northern Idaho is famous. They've been called skinheads. They've been called white supremacists. They've been called, I don't know, there's a bunch of other terms. But what they really are is Nazis. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone there is a Nazi, but there are many there that are. People are coming to northern Idaho and they're moving in. And they are running for office, and they have taken over our state and our legislature to protect themselves. It has sort of become a haven for them. And so people who live there are either Nazis or there are people who are afraid of Nazis. And it was
they've completely destroyed the GOP up there.
Yeah, they've destroyed the school district up there. They've destroyed all kinds of shit. And now they're in our legislature pulling all kinds of bullshit.
Well, yeah, they caused the accreditation to get pulled from the community college up there, too. And yeah, lots of Dems up in northern Idaho as well, unfortunately.
Oh, yes.
Just not anywhere near.
Definitely.
But so you kind of have two parties.
But they are
up
a
there
minority.
Now. Yeah. Well, the old GOP is the minority, too. They've fought tooth and nail to try to get their party back, but it is lost to this.
It is. And it's a small place. People know each other. I'm sure that it was scary to try to step in. And when you've got the sheriff standing there acting like he's all got authority to send these thugs, these jackboots, damn it. I don't like thugs because there's a racial connotation to that. I'm calling it jackboots to step in. And, it would be scary to step in. I agree.
I had read that one man did stop and ask them what their authority was.
There were people who kept saying, who are you? What are you doing here? But nobody physically intervened.
But I still want there to be charges against these men.
I do too.
They deserve charges.
Now they're all under investigation. So the city, the chief of police was pissed when he found out all of what had happened and saw the videos. He was horrified. Talked to the prosecutor, dropped the charges, revoked the city license. And now the sheriff and Lear Asset Management is under investigation. And the whole situation is receiving very public scrutiny all over the country. So it's very good that is happening. One interesting thing about the sheriff of Kootenai County, he is on some sort of disability from California because
you have stopped making noise. I think maybe your mic died. Okay. But yeah, we are seeing it in national news, which is good. These are stories that need to be told. We all need to, here in the U.S., protect our constitutional rights.
Yeah, we definitely do. And so there's a lot going on. This is definitely not over. We're going to see a lot more come from this. But yes, this sheriff is on some kind of disability out of California, and is the elected sheriff of Kootenai County in Idaho.
Yeah.
Make that make sense for me. I don't know a lot about it yet. I'm going to look into it a lot more because I think we have every right to know, as Idahoans, what the hell's going on up there, and who is this dude, and what's he doing? What's he doing in our state?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what's going on right now. We'll see what the investigation reveals, because the chief of police was like, this was 100% not okay.
Right.
This should never have happened. Her rights were violated. You know, I want them charged with assault, and I want her to sue Kootenai County.
Yeah.
The hell are they doing employing a guy like that?
Oh, she's gonna hurt. There's a GoFundMe for her legal fees that is well over
Oh my gosh.
$250,000 now.
It is humongous, yeah. So she's going to be able to get all the help that she needs to make sure that this doesn't ever happen to anybody else again, which I think is really great. So pretty wild, but I am very glad it's all over the internet now. I mean, I hate to say we scooped it, but we did. We like doing that.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's because we're Idahoans, so we know about this shit.
Yeah.
Right, Christine? You can't work on disability unless you want to lose it. I don't know, because it's like cop disability.
Right. I think it's different. This isn't a
It's not like federal disability, so I don't know. But what is this man doing in our state?
Right.
Abusing our citizens? Like, fuck that.
Yeah. 100%.
So maybe we'll get lucky and that guy will just get booted on out.
Yeah.
Along with all of this other stuff. But yeah, I want to see charges and civil lawsuits right away.
Absolutely. Oh, they're coming. Totally.
Well, Teresa Bornpool has definitely got the backing for that now.
Definitely. In lots of ways. Yeah.
And maybe this will
speaking of
expose him for doing something he's not supposed to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Where you're right, he is a Vincent, for sure.
Irene, that's so good. You're right.
Where he's an elected official, that will be that's a harder deal. It's harder to get rid of an elected official, but we'll see what
It
happens.
is, but if he's violating his disability out of California, like what the hell's that about?
I think that happens here quite a bit. There was that case with that officer that we didn't really cover this case. It was
in
national news
Nampa.
elsewhere. No, in Meridian, that
Meridian.
assaulted a kid, and they immediately let him resign, and he immediately picked up a job with Boise PD, which he now
Right.
also doesn't work for. But in that case, he also was retired from California.
Yeah.
So it's like they're putting in their 20 years in California and taking their retirement benefits, or in that case, this, Kootenai County Sheriff's case, disability benefits, and coming to Idaho and continuing to work is what it appears to be. But I don't know. We don't know. We'll have to learn more about that.
Get out of our state. Why?
Right.
Why are you coming
Go.
here to do this shit?
Yeah. But speaking of Northern Idaho, Bryan F. Kohberger.
Yes.
Well, I think Ann Taylor might have hit the end of her limit of desperation. I mean, probably not. This is Ann Taylor. She is, my goodness, she's tenacious. I'm always going to back it. People deserve to have a good defense. She's doing her job,
Agreed.
but she's exhausting. But that's okay, Ann. You rock on with your bad self. But she has come up with a new reason why they need to take the death penalty off the table. We haven't seen this filing yet because it hasn't posted yet. Where it is in his repository. So we can see that it's being filed. We can't see it yet. But what the posting says is that they are going to file a brief requesting that the death penalty be removed from the table due to his disability. What is his disability? Being on the autism spectrum.
Has he ever actually been diagnosed? Or is
No
this
idea.
just new?
Don't know. I mean, the man was working on his PhD. And I understand there's people on the spectrum all over, The spectrum isn't actually a thing anymore, actually. But
Right.
at any rate, Paula said, don't you mean Dr. Taylor? She diagnosed him herself, didn't she? That may very well
Right?
be.
Like,
Oh, I'm sure she's had pros in there. talking to him. But at any rate, she's trying to
for
claim
sure.
that he has autism, and that's why they have to take the death penalty off the table. Interesting.
I don't know, man. I don't know, because generally there's an IQ requirement for that, and Kohberger is not going to be under it.
Oh gosh, no.
No way in hell.
No, he's actually
So
super
I think
freaking smart. So
he is. I think that's a big stretch. I think you have to be like 70 or under to be considered like mildly developmentally delayed in order to qualify for that. That's one of the things. There's always been one of the reasons that Gerald Pizzuto has actually never been executed in Idaho is because his IQ is right on the line.
Yeah.
And so there's been a lot of fight that, dude, this guy is developmentally delayed. You can't execute someone like that. I don't see this going anywhere. I think this is a Hail Mary since they lost the DNA fight.
I think so too. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and autism certainly doesn't cause murder.
No.
Wildly offensive to the entire autistic community, but she's fighting tooth and nail because her win in this case will be getting the death penalty off the table.
Right. I mean, we've learned this from Jim Archibald that these death penalty certified attorneys, that's they know they're not going to win their case. Yeah. But if they keep their client from being executed, crazy.
Right. He very well could be more of an Asperger's type. Absolutely. I agree with that totally.
But Asperger's is actually not a diagnosis.
Right. It's not a diagnosis anymore. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So
now, I know that there had been some stuff kicked around about him when he was younger, but I have never heard that he ever had an official diagnosis. And a mental health diagnosis is not a disability.
No.
And they're going to try to push autism through as a disability, but I don't think that's going to count unless he also has a low IQ.
Right. It'll be interesting to see what happens. It seems like a very desperate attempt, but
it does.
Yeah.
So, I do want to say one thing. If y'all notice, and I don't know if you can really see it, that I have a droopy eyelid. I am not having a stroke. I thought I might be when I woke up this morning like this. My left eyelid is drooping. I get Botox for migraines, and I had Botox a week ago. And sometimes it can cause a droopy eyelid. And I have developed the droopy eyelid.
Oh, no. You really can't. With your glasses and there's a little bit of glare, you can't really see it.
Good. I'm glad, because if you look at me like straight on without the glasses, it's pretty shocking. It shocked the hell out of me. I looked at it and did all the stroke test for myself because I'm like, what the hell is wrong with me?
Lion says, okay, well, now that you say it.
Oh, good. Teresa wondered. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. I just thought, I should tell you just in case. I'm fine.
It should improve in the next week or two, right?
It should. There's an eye drop that I can get to fix it, but I can't have the eye drops until it's been 2 weeks since I had the Botox.
Oh.
Or it can reverse the Botox, which I get for migraines. So, boo.
No one wants
I don't
that.
want to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to live with the eyelid for a little while. At least till next week.
Well, shit. Well, at least it's just that.
Yeah, I'm very glad. I'm like looking in the mirror, smiling, talking, raising my arms, doing all the stuff. I'm like, I'm fine. Okay.
Toast? Do I?
I feel fine. What is this? And then I remembered, Botox, right? Because I got the surprise eyebrows like this a time or two. Not like Matt Gaetz level surprise eyelids, but I did get them a little bit. So yeah, Botox can kind of fuck up your face occasionally for short periods of time.
Beat back those migraines really well. So
oh my gosh, it works so well. I'm like, fine, if I got to deal with a droopy eyelid for a couple weeks, I'll be okay.
Right, it is what it is.
Yes.
Okay. Well, there are some updates in Adnan Syed.
Oh my God, you guys. This is, I just don't think it should be legal to be able to jerk this person around this much.
Right? He will never be free, apparently.
Apparently. So as we know, he was convicted in 1999 of the murder of Hae Min Lee. who was his ex-girlfriend. This was in Baltimore, Maryland. And so prosecutors have now announced that they are going to withdraw a motion to vacate his conviction. So remember, Syed is out. He's been out since 2022. Because the Baltimore prosecutors moved that they wanted to vacate the conviction. They'd lost confidence in the integrity of the conviction. There was some DNA that came to light.
Right.
That wasn't Adnan's. And so he was released from prison. But then there's been this whole fight. The conviction got reinstated in 2023 by the Maryland Supreme Court because the rights of Hae Min Lee's family were violated by not receiving proper notice of a hearing to overturn his conviction. Why that was Adnan Syed's fault, I have no clue, because that was actually the fault of the prosecutor.
Yeah.
So now the problem is this is happening. Years are going by, and prosecutors change jobs.
Right.
And so now there's a different person in charge. So yesterday, the Baltimore State's attorney announced that they were going to withdraw the motion to vacate, saying now that the motion to vacate contained false and misleading statements. And now the conviction will stand. Yet Adnan Syed has been out of prison for 3 years.
Right. So does he have to go back?
Well, we don't know yet. So there's going to be a hearing to determine whether his sentence will just be reduced, so he will remain released, but he will still be convicted.
This just
or if
illegal.
He could actually go back to prison. How is any of this protecting his rights? What? None of what has happened here is his fault.
No.
It's all bullshit. It is bullshit.
It is. This is
terrifying. It makes me sick.
Yeah.
And it is not fair. It is not right. None of this should have happened. And if they were going to vacate his conviction, why in the hell didn't they do it in 2022?
Right.
But Hae Min Lee's family has been pretty opposed to this. They fought really hard, saying that, they didn't get a chance to speak about his sentence being overturned. But yet again, it is not up to them.
Right.
Them having a say in it is really just performative. They don't actually have a say.
Not at all.
In it.
No.
This case is a disaster. It was a disaster from the very beginning.
Yes.
I do not believe for 1 second that Adnan Syed killed Hae Min Lee. I don't.
No.
I think he's innocent. I think that Baltimore freaking knows he is. But now there's something
But it really
else.
sucks that a new prosecutor can come in and be like, I don't like what the old prosecutor did, so I'm going to gather people up that he turned loose and put them back in prison.
Right? How is that?
Is this legal?
So, how is this legal? I do not know.
Yeah.
But there will be another hearing to determine whether his sentence will be reduced to time served. I mean, at the very least, I think they're going to have to do that. What is the justification to put him back in prison when they've let him out for 3 years?
Right.
It's insanity. And I know they're trying to respect Hae Min Lee's family. I get that. But they're not the boss of this situation.
Right.
Not at all.
Yeah. Not at all. No.
Yeah. So.
Irene says that
anyway,
in Vietnam, I hear they're
sucks.
non-extradition.
Right? My God. Can you imagine being him and his family being jerked around like this for all this time? It's bullshit. No. It's bullshit. And they've got evidence that proves that it wasn't him, for Christ's sake. Yeah. We all know they do. It's already been presented. Come on. So anyway, that's what's happening. And all I have to say is, I am so sorry, man. This should not be happening to you.
No,
your rights are being violated horrifically.
This is going to end up going back into the Supreme Court and maybe beyond.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing is, he doesn't need an Alfred plea. He's already been convicted.
Right. Yeah.
It's insanity. I can't imagine that they would actually put him back in prison. But for the conviction to stand after they were going to vacate it, and that's why they released him, what the hell?
Right.
Baltimore, get your shit together. This is not okay.
Not okay. Lisa wanted to know if we've talked about Delphi yet. Believe it or not, Lisa, we're not talking about Delphi tonight. There's a lot going on in Delphi, and I decided that it needs to be more of a segment than at case updates because it's going to take me a lot longer than that. So we're actually not going to do Delphi until Monday. Or you want to do it tomorrow?
Oh, okay. I can do it tomorrow. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, we have a main case tomorrow that's going to blow your freaking minds. But
yes, I will get up on Delphi and
yeah. But thank you for asking. I have been tracking it, but I decided it was too much for tonight because we have a lot. So on that note, I'm going to keep us moving along. I better check my notes. Shanna Gardner-Fernandez.
Oh yeah.
You guys are familiar with the Shanna Gardner-Fernandez case. We've talked about this quite a bit. This is one of the trials we're planning on streaming when it finally gets to trial. But this is the woman who she and her current husband had paid someone to murder her ex-husband, Jared Bridegan. Jared Bridegan's wife, his widow, is suing her.
Oh, really?
Yep. She has filed a wrongful death lawsuit. This is kind of wild to me because they haven't been to trial and been convicted yet, but she has filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Shana Gardner, her husband Mario Fernandez, and the other person that's charged in this murder. She's suing for a judgment of $100,000. She says that Shanna Gardner and Mario Fernandez have, and also Henry Tenon, she's suing him as well, for battery resulting in wrongful death. She's saying that they have been hiding their money so that if they are found guilty, that she won't be able to collect, that they've been hiding their money and transferring it out of their accounts so that they don't have anything left. And so she's suing them now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah, way good for her. It is kind of odd. Usually that happens after trial. But she's going all in now. And apparently her lawsuit basically, has a lot of the same evidence in it that we've already seen in this case. It was in the arrest documents and things like that. But she's going all in.
Well, I mean, if she's worried that they're going to try to hide their money so that she can't get anything from them, I can understand why.
Yeah. Right, and $100K isn't that much these days, especially because this girl's the heiress of the Stampin' It Up company. She doesn't have that kind of money. Her family certainly does, much more money than that. But Shanna has effectively completely ruined her own life.
Right.
So I thought it seemed low too, Joelle. I agree. Yeah.
Amy, aka Funeral Potatoes.
Yes. Yep.
The most Mormonist thing that ever Mormoned.
Yep. Absolutely. So that's all I had on that. Just a little piece, but I thought you guys would find that to be pretty interesting. Kevin Franke, what's going on with him?
He's just gross as ever. So indeed. Kevin Franke and his son Chad have gone live, doing some interviews, doing the circuit, talking about the terrible Ruby.
Yes.
As though somehow Kevin wasn't the dad of these children the whole fucking time all this bad shit happened. So it's a whole, we're going to blame everything on Ruby kind of game. It's really gross. It makes me mad. Just listening to him talk and seeing his dumb face. Because, Ruby Franke's a fucking monster. But you know who else is a monster? Kevin Franke.
Yeah.
He participated
8 passengers
with 8
Kevin
passengers.
And Ruby.
Yeah. They talked about that they were making $100,000 a month at the best, at their height with 8 passengers. Right. He agreed with all of her BS for years. And then when she got all hooked up with Jody Hildebrand and told him that he couldn't see his kids, he just went with that for a whole year.
Yeah.
While those kids were being horrifically abused.
Yep. And he didn't tell anybody
fuck
or
you,
do
Kevin
or say
Franke.
anything. Yeah.
Because now he's acting like he's some kind of celebrity. And that he's in the process of, and a victim.
Yeah.
Which, no, he isn't. You were just as responsible for your children as she was.
Yep.
Gross. He's in the process of divorcing Ruby. He asked her to stop writing to him last spring because she was writing him letters after her sentencing. And that feels like he's pretty close to being ready to date again.
Oh, God.
Women of Utah, stay the hell away from Kevin Franke, okay?
Yeah.
It's so gross. And the way he's going on doing interviews with poor Chad, who's 20 years old,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure just trying to hang on to some shred of his family.
Right. These poor kids. I mean,
but my God, how must it feel to see their dad going around acting like he's a victim of this situation?
Mm-hmm.
When no, he fucking isn't. He was just as responsible for those kids.
Absolutely, he was.
Just gross. I'd like to slap him.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I will, but he is the top of the FOS list today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Boo.
The fact that he was never charged with anything is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Moving on to women who kill their husbands. Let's talk about Jennifer Gledhill. Somebody was asking in a show last night, I think, what the update was on Jennifer Gledhill. And there is a small update. I mean, her case is just working its way through the system, but we've learned a few things now, finally, from court filings. One is that the fight that she and her husband had was over her having an affair. According to the arrest warrant, it was an alcohol-fueled argument. And then after he went to sleep, she apparently shot him in the head. We've been wondering this whole time, how the hell could she have possibly wrestled that man out of bed, down the stairs, into her car, and gotten rid of his body? She claims she buried him in a shallow grave, but his body still hasn't been found. And she also destroyed his phone and moved his truck to a different location.
Yeah.
Now we know that at least she claims that she had one of those car top carriers. You know what I mean? Like those clamshell things people put on their cars to haul stuff. That she hauled one of those up and loaded his body into it and then pushed him down the stairs and was able to slide that into, outside and into her car. I'm still not sold. She is a small woman, and he was a big man. He was in the National Guard. He was a big, muscular guy. I still can't imagine she did this herself. But we've been wondering forever, how in the world would one small lady possibly muscle a dead man of that size anywhere? Yeah. Supposedly, that's what happened, at least according to the arrest warrant.
I'm wondering if this is trying to protect her parents, because remember, her parents have been in big trouble for helping her.
Her parents have been arrested, for helping her.
Yeah.
But theirs is more on, like, they scrubbed her house down and helped her get rid of the bloody mattress and those kinds of things.
Replaced her mattress for her. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering, too, if this is an attempt to protect them, though, she protected them so well, she made them accomplices to the murder of her husband, so...
Right.
Still not sure. These are the things that she told the witness. The witness was the person she was having the affair with, who she called up and said, hey, big news. Super single, and told him everything she did. And he went, holy shit. You're a crazy murderer. I'm going to go ahead and call the police now. So.
Which, good on you.
Yes, thank you so
much
for
not hanging around for that nonsense.
That kind of person and not the alternative. Yeah. So anyway, not a lot going on there, but those are a few things that answered. Those are some questions that were answered for us. How could it fit inside the car? If you had an SUV or a small SUV, I think you could just lay down the back seat and it would probably fit just fine. I don't know what she drives, but yeah.
But I was thinking about how when we were kids, we used to use sleds and slide down our stairs on the sleds. Mm-hmm. And that's basically what she did with him. Gross.
We about killed ourselves doing that.
Oh, yeah, we did. Many a time.
I can think of times when I crashed, at the bottom and straight into the wall and things like that. And
that pole, we had
our
that
friend
beam.
Marty and Nikki's house. They had an addition that they had built above their house and built a big master bedroom. So it was a really steep set of stupid stairs. And we'd ride a sled down that, and you had to have somebody standing there ready to open the back door because when you got down the
Oh no.
stairs, you would shoot clear out the back door. And one time, the back door was open, and our friend Marty came flying down the stairs, and somebody shut the back door just as she got to it, and she broke out the glass of that window with the palm of her hand.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Crazy.
that's all. Right, this bottom of those carriers would be like the sleds, yeah, for sure. So
right. We did in sleeping bags some too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sleeping bags for sure. Yeah, way more painful than the sled though. The sled at least took some of the bounce.
Yes, it
did. Well, with that, there is a small update in the Zizians.
Yes, this is wild. So, remember how Z, the leader of the Zizians, had attempted to fake her own death at one point? Supposedly went overboard of their houseboat.
Yeah.
I think in the San Francisco Bay. And Z's mother actually put out an obituary for her. And remember all that? Yeah. And then just a couple months later, she just started coming back around again. Mm-hmm. Well, if you remember when we covered these guys, there was a young woman named Gwen Danielson who had been a part of the group and then just sort of disappeared and no one knew where she was. And it turns out that dad of this child, Gwen Danielson, came forward and claimed that she actually died by suicide in 2022. But guess what? No, she didn't.
What the hell?
She did not.
Oh my God.
Her father says he believes that she is alive and in hiding, and that she was afraid of the members of the Zizian cult and was trying to get away from them, and that she felt like the only way to do that would be to fake her own death. So he says Gwen Danielson is alive. What the hell is with these people? Right? I don't know. This group of people were bonkers to the bone, as we are known to say at times. Mm-hmm. This is wild. Apparently, Gwen has been working some construction jobs under a fake name. Oh. Just trying to stay off the grid. Mm-hmm. I mean, they, as a group, are now suspected of murdering 6 people. So maybe she's onto something here.
Maybe so.
So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on this, but this is crazy.
Really crazy. Yes. Wow. So I guess that's just the going thing to do. Just
fake your own death, I guess. I don't. It's weird to me that like parents are involved in these faking deaths situations. Mm-hmm. Really weird.
That is wild. Well, I wanted to talk just a little bit about Dominique Pelicot.
Yes.
Remember Dominique Pelicot? This was the guy in France who had been drugging his wife and inviting men over to sexually assault her while she was unconscious. And he's recently been convicted, as have about 50 men, for assaulting her. Yeah. Well, we know now that they are actually investigating Dominique Pelicot for some other rapes. For some 1990 attacks, or attacks in the 1990s.
Good God.
Most specifically for the alleged rape and murder of a property agent named Sophie Narm in Paris in 1991.
My God, a murder?
There's another attempted rape of a young property agent known by the pseudonym Marion on May 11th, 1999. And apparently during his trial, he'd admitted that The DNA evidence taken from blood on Marion's shoe was linked to him. But he says he had nothing to do with Sophie Narm's rape and killing.
Sure you didn't, Dominique. Like, we're all going to just believe any of your bullshit at this point.
Yeah. Isn't that something? Yeah.
That is terrifying.
And here's the thing.
They need to put this man away forever.
In both of those cases, an anesthetic drug was used. Kind of like on who? Giselle Pelicot.
Right.
Yes.
Good
so
Lord.
That's pretty interesting. We're going to definitely keep an eye on that one. Maybe this wasn't his first offense at all.
God.
Yeah.
His
but now
poor
that his
family.
DNA is in the system, there may be more and more things that come up about Dominique Pelicot. But I also wanted to talk briefly about Giselle, or the Giselle effect. As you know, in France, when there is a sexual assault trial, the victims are very carefully protected. There is no videoing or photographing of those trials. They're very careful to protect the victims. Good, fine. But Giselle Pelicot said, absolutely not. I've done nothing wrong. I want this to be televised. I want everyone to see the shame of my husband and these other men.
Yeah.
I am a victim of this, but I am no victim. And I'm going to hold my head up high because I have done nothing wrong. And Giselle has been an absolute warrior. And from that, a lot of other women have been very inspired by her behavior and her fierceness. Well, there's another trial kicking off in France currently. This is a physician, a French surgeon, who is on trial for sexually assaulting 300 patients.
Whoa.
His name is Joel Lescarnac, and he's already in jail because he was found guilty in 2020 for abusing 4 children, including 2 of his nieces. In this trial, there's allegations that he assaulted or raped 299 patients, many of them while waking up from anesthetic or during post-op checkups at his office, at a dozen hospitals between 1989 and 2014. 256. Yes. 256 of the victims are under 15. The youngest age of 1 and the oldest the age of 70.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah. He also, like Pelicot, kept notes of his crimes. Noted things like his victims' names, ages, and addresses, and the nature of the abuse.
Addresses? Oh my God.
Yeah. In his notes, he called himself a major pervert and a pedophile. His own notes.
His own notes.
And people in France are very angry at the medical board because apparently he's been reported about 1 million times for being disgusting, and nothing has ever been done.
Wow.
But just wanted to say that quite a few of his victims who have come forward and agreed to testify have said that they are inspired by Giselle and her bravery, and they are willing to come forward and testify because of Giselle, because they've been inspired by her. So Giselle, rock on some more. She's awesome.
Wow. She is awesome, and I'm really happy that she's flipping the script, that the shame does not fall upon the victim. The shame falls upon the perpetrator.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
I continue to be dazzled by and incredibly proud of her. But also really hoping that this trial, as well as the Pelicot trial, will help to reform some antiquated laws and ideas and treatment and application of the law to sex offenders in France, because what we learned from the Pelicot case, from reporters who had boots on the ground in that little village, is that there were plenty of people in that town that just thought this should go away. Yeah. That didn't think it was that bad what happened to Giselle. Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Mm-hmm.
My God.
Yeah.
Hideous.
Yeah.
Well, and right, Irene says, can the legal board be sued for not doing anything? Right.
No idea.
Like, it was well known that this guy was doing this shit. how did...
Apparently it was. Apparently it had been spoken many times.
Well,
How
and
many times,
the
I don't know. And to who,
boldness
I don't know. But yeah, the boldness.
of both of these men. They
Yeah.
didn't think in a million years that anyone was going to do anything to them.
Yeah.
And to keep notes and video and all the stuff that they both did, like, really?
Yep.
Jesus.
The arrogance of thinking that there wasn't going to be any retaliation to them.
Yeah. That no one was ever going to see those notes or those videos.
Yeah. So I have no idea what could or couldn't happen, to the medical board. I would imagine it's probably nothing, but, perhaps this will force some reform on them as well, however.
I sure hope so.
But speaking of entitled people who didn't think anything would happen to them, our last case tonight is Kouri Richins.
It sure is. And, much like Bryan Kohberger, the judge is having none of this nonsense. If you recall, there was a big hearing a couple weeks ago where they were trying to get additional detectives to have to come and testify because they weren't sure if they should have questioned Kouri on the day that she was arrested, and did they have a warrant, or did they know she had an attorney? All that jazz, remember? And the judge said, yeah, no, I think we're good. We don't need to go any further with this.
Yeah.
They also tried to say that there were some breaches of prosecutors' rules and attorney conduct rules. And the judge was like, yeah, nah, we're fine. The judge has made it very clear that they are headed directly for trial in April. Now, the Utah Supreme Court did rule that the jury selection is going to come from Summit County. However, there is still a change of venue request happening in the works. The judge has said, well, you can ask for an extension, but I'm probably not going to give it to you, just so you know.
Yeah.
But
so this was because they wanted to draw jurors from 2 counties, correct?
Yep, they wanted to draw jurors from 2
Supreme
counties.
Court said no. Okay.
Yeah, they said, no, not doing that. The only way, there's still a possible delay that could happen, because what they think they're probably going to ask for is to move the trial to Salt Lake County, because it's a lot bigger, and also hopefully it's a less tainted jury pool. If that happens, there will probably be a delay, because the Salt Lake courts aren't necessarily prepared for the scheduling of this trial. So we shall see. But right now, it's in Summit County. It is going to be Summit County jurors. And the judge was like, yeah, nah, we're not doing any of this bullshit. This is just a bunch of, legal shenanigans that, no, we're going to trial with what we have.
Yeah.
So, and of course, again, this was the defense's job to try this stuff. And, to attempt any of it that might get some of the evidence thrown out. And so, of course, they're doing their job. But it didn't have a lot of foundation to begin with. And, that's basically what the judge said. He's like, well, unless you can give me like some case law, which you haven't done. Sorry about it.
You don't like the prosecutor. You don't like the police and how they handled this. Cool, but
yeah, he's not finding that they did anything wrong, or that they need to continue to examine more investigators and more detectives and stuff. And, a lot of this is very similar to Kohberger, in that a lot of this is just stuff that can be brought up at trial.
Right.
And that the defense can try to impeach the officer on the stand, and, the kind of things that actually happen. This is trying to prosecute the case before prosecuting the case, or try the case, So unless they do a change of venue, which is still possible, it's still going forward in April. And the judge really is very motivated to not slow this down at all.
Yep.
It'll just, of course, depend on Salt Lake County courts, because that's a much bigger county.
But even if there's a delay, it's going to be a brief delay. I mean, he's not going to put up, we're not talking 6 months. We're talking a few weeks.
Yeah.
He's going to figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, no, we need to just get this trial done. So, yeah.
Okay.
Right. Good for that judge.
right? Well, yeah, he is awesome. He's a great judge. I agree with you guys. He's awesome.
Well,
and his
it's
voice
time to get
is
this
like
trial
butter.
going. Yeah, it is. But it's time to get this trial done. This has been dragging on a long time.
Yes, it has. It definitely has. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Well, that's what we've got. That's a lot. Lots
Yes, it
going
is.
on. There is some motion going on in oh gosh. Seriously, this memory is just unreal. The Menendez brothers.
Yes.
That I was going to talk about. It's not a big thing, but well, I mean, it might be a big thing, but the governor of California has asked for a study to determine if there would be any actual danger to the public for these two to be released from prison. So
Yes.
he's working on that because the prosecutor's like, because again, new prosecutor. The old prosecutor was like, yeah, I think we need to do something here. The new prosecutor's like, I don't know. So now the governor's
He's pretty
saying
against resentencing them,
yeah.
but obviously there are still people within the judicial system that think they should be.
Right. So now the governor is kind of loosely getting involved and just asking for a study to see what it would look like to release these guys and if that's appropriate. Yeah. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we will.
Yeah. All righties. Well, that's what we've got. So we'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Mountain Time for our last show of the week. Like I said, our main case tomorrow is going to knock your socks off. And Kristi, you are going to bring us an update on Delphi. And yeah, we'll head that way. So you guys have a good night. Take good care of yourselves. Thanks for being here. This has been yet another production of the True Crime Squad.
Bye, everybody.
Season 6, we're back again. Kristi and Katie, your crime time friends. Stories, justice, laughs collide. True Crime Squad, come join the ride. Grab the clues, let's take a stand. For victims' voices, hand in hand. True Crime Squad, it's time to shine. Season 6, your turn, your time. True Crime Squad, where justice meets hilarity.